To summarize the story of Mayumi and her daughter Emiko, it can be said that everything was normal until it wasn't, when it was discovered that nothing ever really was in the first place. That is, the pregnancy was normal and the birth was normal, and then 36 days later, Mayumi tested positive for a blood cancer called acute lymphoblastic leukemia. To make matters worse, further trials of testing and of waiting revealed to the doctors that Mayumi had had the cancer while she was pregnant, although Emiko seemed fine initially. The weird thing about Mayumi's cancer was that it occurred due to a Philadelphia translocation of the DNA, which according to Sam Keane is when two non-twin chromosomes mistakenly cross over and swap DNA. Because of the weird nature of this cancer and the conditions surrounding it, those involved feared that the cancer could be passed from mother to child, and so genetic sequencing was used to determine whether a mother can give cancer to her fetus. The first use of this genetic sequencing was in 2006 by Mayumi and Emiko's doctors in China.
Fully understanding what happened between mother and child can be found in the complexity and uniqueness that can be found in mammals, and more so in humans. Mammals have a complexity where they have hair on their bodies, they nurse their young, and they have a very unique inner ear and jaw structure. However, the most unique feature can be found in their complex MHCs. MHCs, or major histocompatibility complexes, are found in the immune systems of most organisms. In humans, however, they are the most complex and called HLAS, or human leukocyte antigens. They have two jobs. One is to place random samplings of molecules and display them on the cell surface. This allows for any potential threats to be found and destroyed. The main connection, however, between MHCs and Mayumi's condition can be seen in the MHC's second job, which is to find and destroy any non-self entities. The second job that an MHC has that has the most to do with Mayumi's story is its job to allow the body to identify self and non-self entities. Since each MHC is differed, sometimes they themselves will be destroyed if not properly identified by others. While this does help fight off possible harmful entities, it does have its downside. When an organ transplant occurs, the immune system, and therefore the HMCSs, must be diluted, or they will attack the new organ and any possible tissue around it. Another area where MHCs may fail is in the developmental stages before birth. Sometimes children can be born with non-human and therefore non-self genes. When these children grow up, or sometimes at birth, these genes appear. This includes being born with a tail, a child having the cry of the cat syndrome, which is where a child emits a cat-like cry, and the werewolf syndrome, where large amounts of facial hair appear, as shown by the Sangli sisters. These show that in the case of Mayumi and Emiko, that an MHC inefficiency shown by the expression of non-human genes may have let the cancer sneak its way into Emiko. With non-functioning MHCs, the cancerous genes that Mayumi had weren't destroyed, and therefore they were passed on from mother to child. A mutation in the MHCs, as seen as with non-human genes showing up in humans, could possibly have been the cause with the cancer contaminating Emiko, as the mutation may have moved through the placenta and contaminated her.
The placenta is an organ that connects mother to child. In addition to bringing nutrients to the baby and removing waste, the placenta acts as a part of the baby's immune system, blocking microbes and rogue cells.
In the animal kingdom, placentas are a defining trait of mammals. There are some oddball animals that have split from our lineage long ago, but of the roughly 2,150 species of mammals, 2,000 have placentas.
It's creepy to think that the placenta, in all likelihood, evolved from the retroviruses. Clamping onto cells happens to be a talent of viruses. They fuse their outer skin to a cell before injecting their genetic material into it. When a ball of embryonic cells swims into the uterus and anchors itself there, the embryo also fuses part of itself with the uterine cells by using special fusion proteins. In Mayumi's case, the placenta initially protects the fetus from harm, but when the placenta fails, the baby's own immune system fights with MHC, the major histocompatibility complex. These are a set of genes that help the immune system. But when this doesn't perform correctly, this can be devastating to both mother and child.
Vomeronasal organs are instrumental in understanding what happened to Mayumi and Emiko. About 40 days after conception, inside the nasal cavity, humans develop a tube about 0.01 inches long with a slit on either side. This is used to detect pheromones and give sexual cues to other mammals.
Sigmund Freud's friend, Dr. Wilhelm Fleiss, went as far as to say that the nose was the man's most sexual organ, which leads us to an experiment about urine and sweat.
Straight women, gay men, and straight men were all exposed to male sweat. Immediately after the fact, their brains were scanned, and it showed that the straight women and the gay men were all slightly aroused, but not the straight men. In the same experiment, it was found that pheromones in female urine can arouse straight men and gay women, but not straight women.
Our VNO identifies what MHC genes people have to protect them from disease.
In mating, we'll find a mate with a different MHC, so the codominance in DNA will spread to the offspring. The disappearance of MHC empowered a cancer that nearly killed Emiko. Cancer, contrary to popular thought, can be a transmissible disease, even permeating the fortress of the placenta.
Author Sam Keane wrote, "There's no use introducing human love to chemicals. Love is way more complex than that." Cells from the child are forever left in the body of the mother, and the same goes for the child. This is what makes the human connection so special.
With an understanding of pheromones, MHCs, and the placenta, scientists were able to solve the mystery of Mayumi and Emiko. Inactive MHCs and an ineffective placenta may have led to the harmful disease that killed Mayumi and threatened young Emiko's life.